Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Opt-in Form Makeover webinar. I hope that this is the webinar that you signed up for. If you're looking for the webinar where I promise to give your opt-in form a makeover, you're in the right place. And welcome. So let's just give others one more minute to get settled in, and then we'll get started right away. And in the meantime, you might want to check, just make sure that let me know if you can see and hear me properly and clearly, right? Let me adjust my settings here. All right, I think we should get started. Let me share my screen with you again. All right, so we are in the opt-in form makeover right now. And before I proceed with reviewing the opt-in forms that you sent me, let me introduce myself. I am Lexi Rodrigo, and most of you already know me because you are actually from my email list, but a few of you probably are not yet familiar with me. And if so, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am a communication professional for over 20 years now, and I know I am dating myself, but that is the truth. And since 2008, I have been a freelance copywriter and content creator. And recently, about a couple of years ago almost, I joined Miracy as content creator and blog editor. And I'm also a wife and mom of three, which means that, like most of you, I am incredibly busy. So I'm always looking for ways to do things more easily, to save time and get the most bang out of my efforts, pretty much. So that's a little bit about me. If you want to share something about yourself, feel free to put it in the chat. Let us know who you are, what you do, and where you come from. And by the way, I am in Ontario, Canada. All right. Are we all set? Then let me proceed with the first opt-in form. And this is from Helena. Helena, I don't know if I am saying your name correctly. Please forgive me if I am not. So this is Helena's opt-in form, and it is not in English. Let's see. Is it Dutch? I'm not sure, but Helena sent me a translation in English, which you can see on the right. So her opt-in offer is a free email series, 7-day email series. So let me start by telling you what I like about this opt-in form, and then I'll tell you how I would improve it. First of all, I like the structure that Helena uses, and by that I mean she has a headline, she has a supporting text underneath the headline, and bullet points. And this is a good structure to follow because it gives you a lot of room to really sell your opt-in form. I mean, your opt-in offer, right? As opposed to a form where it's just a headline, for example, a headline and then the name and email fields. So this one gives you a lot of room for talking about what you are offering and getting people to sign up for it. I also like that Helena uses a number in her headline, on her headline, the number 7. It's been shown in research and people who do a lot of paid ads, they've noticed that when they use a number in their headline, that the ad or the headline converts better. I mean, go figure, right? But I think the explanation is that numbers mean specificity. And when you're specific, you tend to convert more. The more specific you are, the more concrete you are, the better your headline, your offer will convert. And I'll be going back to that as we go along. I also like that Helena makes a bold promise. And her bold promise is in her headline. She says, 7 days with room to connect to yourself and your feminine essence. So this is probably not a very accurate translation of her headline, but it's good enough for us to figure out that Helena is promising that her subscriber will, as a result of going through her free email series, will be able to connect with herself and her feminine essence. And that is a bold promise. I also like that in her button, she doesn't use the word subscribe. The word that you use for your button or your button text also makes a difference. So she doesn't use the word subscribe, which is good because subscribe, researchers have found, actually does not convert very well in a button. So it's better to use something like what Helena uses here, which is, yes, please let me get access. So I see that some people are still arriving. Welcome, everyone. I've started because I want to, value everybody's time and start on time. But don't worry, because you will have access to the replay. And so you'll be able to see what you missed. And you haven't missed a lot. I just started with the first opt-in form. And I have just described what are the positive things that I like about this opt-in form. So now let's go to my suggestions. So if I was going to, okay, sorry, I can't look at my slides and see the chat at the same time. I should fix that so that I can see what you all are saying. All right. Okay. So this is how I would improve this opt-in form, Helena. First of all, I would give your 7-day email series a name, sort of a title, so that you can refer to it by name. And as you go along, you will probably have several email series that you offer. So when for example, you're guest posting on somebody else's blog or you're being interviewed somewhere, then you can mention, oh, I'd like to invite everyone to sign up for my blah, blah, blah email series. If you had a title, then you can refer to it by title. And you can also use the title on your opt-in form. Now, I mentioned that I like the use of the number 7 on your headline, and that helps to make it a little bit more concrete. But I would like to see more specificity in your promise. For me, when you say connect to yourself and your feminine essence, that's not very concrete for me. It sounds very abstract. I'm not really sure what you mean. Now, of course, it is possible that I am not your target market, and that's why I don't really understand what you mean by connecting to myself and my feminine essence. I mean, you know your target market, your target audience best. And if you think that these are the words that they would use, this is part of their problem language. And Helena, I think you're in the Course Builders Laboratory, which means you know what I mean when I say problem language, right? But for the benefit of others, what this means is the exact words that your audience uses when they describe their problem or when they describe a goal, a goal that they want. Okay. So the male series is for the woman who knows she is most beautiful when she gives herself space, attention, and self care. The other thing also is that my voice is already giving out, and this is just the first opt in form. Okay, let me get a sip of tea. Anyway, what I wanted to say was I get the feeling that you're probably trying to do too much with your email series. Now, what we want to do with your opt in offer is you want to give something easy, and what I mean by easy is that it's easy to consume. And you don't want to you don't want a great big goal for you and for the people who are signing up for your offer. You want it to be something that's almost instantly gratifying, that they can get a win immediately. Because if you're promising too much, in all likelihood, they will be too overwhelmed to finish it, to actually consume what you have. Okay. And then the bullets, I like that you use bullets, but you can make your bullets more of a teaser, make it more curiosity arousing, you know? And it's really hard to describe it in just such a short time, because I think we can have a whole webinar just on writing bullets. So, for example, you can look at the bullets in my landing pages and my opt-in forms, Helena, to give you an example of how you can write more compelling and more intriguing bullet points. Also, a very important suggestion that I want to make is about your use of your image. This photo that you're using as a background, it's actually making your opt-in form look very cluttered. So what I would recommend instead is for you to create a product image for your email course. For example, Helena, I know that you are on my email course, right? About how to make your website irresistible. So even though that is an email series, it's not a physical product and it's not an ebook, which means it doesn't have a cover. I still made an image to represent the email series. So if you can make an image that represents your email series, you can use that, and not as a background, but somewhere in your opt-in form. And you know why you want a product image for your opt-in offer is because when people are sharing something about your opt-in offer, let's say I signed up for your email series and I loved it so much and I'm telling other people about it, and then I'm sharing a link to your opt-in offer, the product image will show up. Let's say I tweet about it or I shared about it on Facebook, then that's the product image that will show up. Okay? All right. So let's move on to the next one. This is an opt-in form that was sent by Elena. Helena, Elena, your names sound alike. All right. So her offer is a free checklist. And I am gathering from the form itself, it's a free checklist for a blog post. So before you publish your blog post, this is the checklist that you should look at. And what I like about this form is the use of orange and the dark gray. There's a lot of contrast, which means I don't know what the rest of the website looks like, but just looking at this, I think visually it's attractive. And also, Elena does use a product image for her checklist. And she does have a title. I am assuming before you hit publish is the title of her checklist. So those are all good. But we can still make it better. The headline is grab your free checklist. Now, um, hi Leslie. By the way, anytime you have a question, feel free to type it in the chat and I will get to that later on at the end of the webinar, towards the end of the webinar, because I really want to get through the opt-in form makeovers. Okay. So the headline is grab your free checklist. And that's, for me, that's not very compelling because you're just telling me to grab something, but I don't know why I should do that. So the headline for your opt-in form headline, um, this is what I recommend. You either make a big promise, if you recall, like what Helena did. What will I get? All right. So either it's a positive that I want, or what will I avoid? Okay, it can be a negative that I don't want. Will I save time? Will I save money? Will this help me solve a problem, a big problem that I have? So in this opt-in form, reading the headline and even reading the text underneath the headline, we don't know what we're really going to get from the checklist. Like, why do I need a checklist? I'm a blogger. Why do I need a checklist before I publish my blog? Is it because with the checklist, I can be sure that I will include all the elements of a successful blog post? Or will it help me to avoid common mistakes that bloggers make, like, um, having typos? Or is this an SEO checklist that will help me to make sure that my blog post is search engine optimized? So I don't know. And the form doesn't tell us. So I recommend that from the headline itself, make it clear. Have you heard of what's in it for me? So answer that question in your headline. What is in it for the person who's going to subscribe? And then the second suggestion I would make is to replace the button text. Right now it says subscribe. And marketers and researchers have found that that is not the best word or the best text to put on your button because it doesn't convert well. And I think it's because it's too much of a commitment. When you say subscribe, there's a commitment there and it involves regularity. Like when you subscribe to a magazine, it's monthly, or a newspaper is daily. And so better words to put on your button text are things like words like download or get, or send. And you notice these are smaller commitments. Like when I say download, I'm just downloading something, right? And this is a checklist. So it is something to download. So it could be, your button text could be download now, or get it now, or send it to me, right? And finally, although Elena used orange for her form, but for her button, she used blue. Now, again, in marketing research, they have found that the best colors to use for your CTA, or your call to action button, is actually a warm color, like orange or yellow or red. Definitely something that is high contrast with the background. And the background here is dark gray, which means the orange would stand out more against the dark gray background than the blue that we have here. And if you notice, Amazon has orange buttons. So, and I'm sure Amazon has done a lot of testing on its site. And so I'm going to go with what Amazon does. And I pretty much really only use orange for my buttons. Of course, if your background is already orange, then you probably wouldn't want to use orange for your button. Um, in that case, I would probably change the color of my background just so I can still use the color orange for my button. Because, that's what works. And unless you want to do a lot of testing, let's go with what's been tried and tested by Amazon and other marketers. All right, moving on. Let's move on to oh, actually, I have a question for you guys. Um, so far, what we have seen here are one-step opt-in forms. And by that, what I mean is that you the reader, your website visitor, gets to submit their name and email address on the opt-in form in one step. Have you heard of a two-step opt-in form? So in a two-step opt-in form, just type your answer in the chat box. The first form, the first step, does not have the name and email fields yet. It will probably have a question like, for example, would you like a free checklist to make sure your blog post is search engine optimized? And then there's a yes or no button. And then if you click on yes, then the name and email fields, another form will appear that's showing the name and email fields. So that is a two-step form. So is that something you're familiar with, the two-step form? And the reason I'm asking, okay, nobody wants to tell me whether they're familiar with the two-step form or not. And the reason I'm asking is because they found that the two-step form is actually more effective than the one-step form. So yeah, it converts better. And that's why I think in most websites, you're going to see two-step forms now. So that's another suggestion that I would like to give to you, is to start experimenting and using two-step forms. All right. And just a reminder that we are going to have a question and answer towards the end of the webinar. Now, this is an example of a two-step form. Okay, I think this is a two-step form because if you notice, there is no field for the email address or the name. And I'm guessing that when you click on schedule your free session now, then the form will pop up where you send your email, your name and email address. You submit your name and email address. So let's look at this opt-in form. So the offer is a free session. And what I like about this offer, this opt-in form rather, is first of all, it's two-step, which is supposed to be more effective. And it's got a good headline. Are you frustrated and overwhelmed by all the technology it takes to build your business? So it's a good headline because it's pointing to a pain, a frustration that the website visitor has. Okay. And so I have this problem. I have this frustration. Yes, I'm overwhelmed by technology and I want to solve it. Right. So that's good. It's compelling. That makes it compelling and it's very clear. And also another positive is that the button is a red-orange color, which is good. As we discussed earlier, it's a good color for your button. Now, my suggestion is that this headline can actually be even better. So instead of asking a question, why not make the promise that you can help me with my frustration and my overwhelm? Okay. Another suggestion is to make it more specific, because from the headline and the text underneath the headline, we still don't know what you're offering. We only find out when we get to the button. Oh, you're offering a free session. And then it's not enough information for me. Like, see, I'm not going to schedule this because I don't know what to expect. What is it? Is it a phone call? Is it a Skype call? Is it a session on Zoom? And how long is it? Is it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes? Is Are you going to give me advice about my technology challenges? Are you going to recommend tools? Um, Tell me what to expect. Okay. And you can do that in the headline and the text underneath the headline so that the button can be schedule your session now. So, is that clear? Does that make sense? So you have to make it clear for your website visitor exactly what it is they're signing up for. Is it an email course? If it's an email course, how long is it? Is it an ebook? Is it an ebook that's 10 pages, 100 pages, 50 pages? Is it a video? If it's a video, is it a 5-minute video, a 3-minute video, or a 1 hour long video? And what exactly can I expect in terms of the content? So remember what I said earlier about being specific? So what if the headline, for example, was something like, give me 15 minutes and I'll take away your frustration and overwhelm. I'll take away your technology frustration. Something like that. Okay. So let's move on to the next opt-in form. And this is Carrie's opt-in form. Carrie is an expert in video, I believe, communicating through video. So her offer is, I'm actually not sure what her offer is. What I like about her opt-in form, Carrie, what I like about your opt-in form is that you use a bold orange headline, which stands out, right? Especially if your website is white, has a white background. The headline really stands out. It grabs my attention. And you use an orange button, which is excellent for conversion. And also you use an image. Again, that's very important for your opt-in form, an image. But I do have a lot of suggestions for you for how to make this opt-in form better. So the headline is, how can you impact lives if no one listens or cares? So it hints at a problem or a challenge that I might be having. But because in an opt-in form, we have very limited space, you really want to get straight to the point right away, and especially with your headline. So instead of asking me, how can I make impact if no one listens to me? Go ahead and make me a promise. Like, I'll show you how to get people to listen to your message and to care about your message. Right? Isn't that more powerful? Okay. And then the text that you have underneath, I'll share my communication and video story talents so you get your voice and stories heard. Interactive tips for enhancing your video stories. This reminds me. A very common mistake that we make on our opt-in forms, and I have to tell you, I make this mistake as well, is that we talk more about what we're offering instead of what people will get. And those are two different things. So I might be offering a newsletter But that's not necessarily what my newsletter subscribers are getting. I'm offering a newsletter, but what they're getting, for example, is advice that will make their lives easier somehow. And you have to be specific about that. Okay. So, why did I bring that up? Because here you're talking about communication and video story talent. So, Carrie, that is what you're offering, and interactive tips. But what will your subscribers get? Okay, you will get, like for me, this is not specific enough. Okay, I will get my voice and stories heard, but how? Um, enhance my video stories. It's not really. It's not really resonating with me because it's too concrete. I mean, it's not concrete enough. Like, what exactly are you going to help me to be more comfortable in front of the video camera? Are you going to help me to make my videos more exciting, or to show my personality in my videos some more? Or, I mean, what is it? Are you going to tell me what equipment to use so that I have I produce high quality videos, right? So be more specific. What is it? What's in it for me? All right. And then I would recommend a better image. Like this one, it's not really telling me anything. Now, again, once you're more specific with what you're offering, I don't know if this is a newsletter or a series of videos, then you can create a product image for it. Okay, so again, instead of this picture that you have here, Carrie, I suggest that you create a product image for your offer, your opt-in offer, and use that instead of this image here, which is very tiny and it's not really telling me anything about what you have for me. And then instead of just asking for an email address, ask for the name as well, at least the first name, because that's really going to be helpful later on. You want to personalize your emails as much as possible. So I understand that you don't want to ask for too much in your opt-in form, because the more information you ask for, the less likely people are to actually subscribe. But the name is just so important that I would recommend it. At the very least, you ask for the first name and the email address. And then finally, the button text. I would recommend, instead of get people to listen and care, just tie it in more closely with how people are going to access what you are offering. Is it something to download? If that's the case, then change the button text to download it now, or send it to me today. What were the other examples? Or get it now. Okay. Hey guys, again, if you have questions, please type your questions in the chat and I will get to them very soon. I have to get off the call before 1 p.m. So this is not going to be an hour long. All right. I think this is the last opt-in form that was submitted to me. And this is Diana's opt-in form. As you can see, her offer is the PEMF, Joyful Health Newsletter. All right. So what do I like about this opt-in form? I like that she has a title for her offer. Diana, you have a title for your offer. It's Joyful Health Newsletter. I like the use of colors. Personally, I like purple. So to me, this is a very attractive opt-in form. And once again, you use orange for your button, which is, what did we say? It is the best color for your opt-in form button. So very good job with that. Now, for my suggestions, your headline, change your headline from, focusing on the title of your newsletter to focusing on what is the main benefit of joining the newsletter. What is the big promise that you are making with this newsletter? Now, it can be hard when it's a newsletter because, of course, every issue of your newsletter is going to be different, right? But you can still find a benefit. For example, what are what will the subscriber be getting from your newsletters? Is it insider tips, for example? Am I going to be getting, like, am I going to be the first to know about certain topics? So things like that are much more compelling than the title of your newsletter, right? Am I going to get cutting edge information on how to take care of my health? Okay, so those are the kinds of things that you want to put in your headline. And then add a product image. This form has attractive colors, but it's all text. So it would help to have an image for your newsletter. Even a newsletter can have a product image. And actually, you mentioned a PEMF Joy ebook. So the ebook has an e-cover, right? It has a cover, so you can use that in the opt-in form. Or instead of offering them at the same time, like you could offer the newsletter and give the ebook as some kind of an unannounced bonus. You know, like when the subscriber gets to your thank you page, your confirmation page, then there's you can say something like, thank you very much for joining our newsletter. Here's a bonus for you. Okay. And then the fields for the name and the email address look just a little bit too small for me. That's a minor thing. And finally, I would change the text of your button. Instead of join newsletter, again, that's not very compelling and it's a bit of a commitment. And it'll tie in with your headline. For example, if in your headline you promised, get, let's see, get up to date, cutting edge health advice, and then your button could be send it to me. Again, download, send, get it today. Those are the kinds of words that will work better in your headline. I mean your button text. Okay. Okay. How about the other people on the webinar who did not send me their opt-in forms? I'm giving you one last chance to have me look at your opt-in form. You can type the URL of your website in the chat box, and I can try to get your opt-in form that way. Anyone, come on, before we move on to the checklist. I promised that you would also get a cheat sheet, and you will get it in an email after this webinar. And this is what's in the cheat sheet, okay? And this is what I also looked at when I was reviewing your opt-in forms. All right. First of all, the incentive. It needs to be something valuable to your website visitors, right? So either they will get something, they will accomplish something, or they will avoid a problem or a pain, right? And it needs to be easy. By easy, I mean easy to consume. So I wouldn't recommend a 100-page ebook or even a 50-page ebook as an incentive for people to sign up for your email list. Make it something that they can consume quickly, like, a 5-day email course. A cheat sheet is just 1 page, for example, or a short ebook, like 5 to 7 page ebook. As long as it helps them to accomplish a goal that's important to them. That's enough. And finally, relevant. And by relevant, I mean that it's relevant to your brand and it's relevant to your business strategy. I imagine you're going to offer your email subscribers something, a product or a service later on. So your incentive should somehow be connected with that product or service that you're going to be offering later on down the road. And it needs to be relevant in terms of the content. The content should be relevant to your audience. Okay. Next thing you want to look at is your headline. All right. Answer what's in it for me? What's in it for your subscriber? And be as specific as possible. As I said, be as clear and straightforward and concrete as possible. And be bold. Make it a bold promise. Because if it's not a bold promise, it's not going to be exciting or compelling. And it's not going to get people to subscribe. Okay, and remember what I said also, try to use a number there. Now for your subheading or your supporting text or your bullets, again, keep it benefit oriented. Okay, arouse the curiosity, especially with your bullets, make it intriguing. And if you are using bullet points, here's another tip, make it an odd number of bullet points. If you are gonna use bullet points, make it 3 bullet points, not 4, or 5 bullet points, not 6, and probably not more than 5 bullet points. That's more than enough. So either 3 or 5 bullet points. And then your button. All right. As we said, do not use the word subscribe in your button text. Use download, get, or join, or learn more, or send it to me. And again, use a warm color. Orange tends to be the best. But if red goes better with your website branding, the colors of your website, then use red or even yellow. And, the best way is really to test. But if you can't test, then go with orange. You're less likely to make a mistake with orange because everyone else has tested that. And finally, the design of your opt-in form, go for high contrast so that visually your opt-in form stands out from the rest of your website. Use a product image. And the display settings, by this, I mean choose where on your website the opt-in form is going to show up and when. So when I say where, there are a lot of places on your website that you can put an opt-in form. And you know what? The widget opt-in forms, the ones on the sidebar, they don't tend to convert very well. So if that's all you have, you need to add some more opt-in forms in different places. For example, you can have an opt-in form at the end of every blog post or in the middle of every blog post, because people might not read the whole thing, right? Although it's been shown that even when people don't read the entire blog post, they tend to scroll down to the very end. So opt-in forms at the very end of your blog posts tend to do well as well. Or you might want an opt-in form to pop up when your website visitor tries to exit or they're about to exit your website. The exit intent, that's what you call an exit intent opt-in form, that converts very well as well. Also, you want different opt-in forms for different parts of your website. What do I mean? If you have, let's say, blog posts about, let's see, meditation, then you want your opt-in form to be relevant to that. Remember, I said relevance. And then let's say you have blog posts about yoga. Then you want your opt-in form on your yoga posts to be about yoga as well. And that's how you can get better conversions, is when the opt-in form is aligned with the actual content of your website or the particular page where that form is showing up. All right. So you want to control these settings for your forms. All right. So um, let me look at the questions. Leslie was asking, what's the best plugin to use for opt-in forms? And I'm glad that you asked this question because I'm actually going to recommend one to you guys. But before I go to my recommendation, how do you choose an opt-in form builder? Of course, you want to make sure it integrates with the email service provider that you're using. You want to make sure it has a lot of templates so you don't have to be thinking about the design. You want to make sure, but at the same time, you want the templates to be customizable. You want to make sure that it gives you a lot of options with the types of opt-in forms. Um, right now, there I mentioned the widget, which shows in your sidebar if you have a sidebar. There's a light box opt-in form that pops up in the middle of your website. For example, before a person exits your website, there's an opt-in form that slides in from the side of your site. There's so many different types, and you want to be able to use all these different types to see which type converts well with your audience. And you want to be able to control the display settings. So you want to be able to have different opt-in forms for different categories of your blog posts, for example. And you want to be able to track the conversion of your opt-in form. Now, of course, you can use Google Analytics for this, but if you're not technically savvy and you don't want to mess around with that, because it does take work for Google Analytics to tell you how well your opt-in forms are converting. Like, you have to use goals in Google Analytics, and when you have a lot of opt-in forms, this can get very tedious. So if your opt-in form builder can give you the conversion metrics, then that's even better. And you want to be able to do A/B testing. Now, again, you can use something like Google web, uh, I'm forgetting the name, webmaster tools for this. But if the opt-in form builder can do it right there, then that's just going to make it a lot easier for you. Now, I was going to have a poll. I was going to ask you guys, looking at this, does your current opt-in form builder do all this? Just type yes or no in the chat box. Does your opt-in form builder let you do all this? Does it cover all of these? Okay, just yes or no, or somewhat, to some extent, like it might have some of those features, but not all. And the reason I ask is because I've been using an opt-in form builder that I've been very happy with and that I would like to recommend to you. And that is the Thrive Leads WordPress plugin. And I highly recommend this because it's very powerful. It has all those features, all those opt-in forms. It lets me customize which forms will show up on which pages and on which posts, where on my blog, and even the timing, if it will show up when the person is trying to exit or whatever. It looks beautiful even on mobile devices, and I've actually been checking my website on my smartphone because it just makes me so happy to see that my form looks so nice. The templates are optimized, and it lets me do two-step opt-in forms, in fact, multi-step opt-in forms. And it's so easy to use, so easy to customize. For my job, I use Opt-in Monster, and it's really a beast when I try to optimize or change the way that it looks. Even just changing the text on the bullets, the design gets all messed up, and I get very cranky and waste so much of my time. But not with Thrive Leads. Like, I use the templates, and then I can change. I can remove text, I can add images, and it still looks really good. And it it's just so easy to use. And it's affordable. Like, if you want to do two-step forms, um, what the leading tool that would be recommended is Lead Pages. But Lead Pages, you have to pay a monthly fee for that. And it's more expensive than Thrive Leads. So Thrive Leads is affordable, and plus they give you a ton of training. So even though I've been doing this for a long time, I still learned a lot by just going through all the information that Thrive Leads has for its users. Okay. So if you want to check out Thrive Leads, go to alexisrodrigo.com. Um, hang on, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show it to you. You're going to see it on the side of the webinar. Okay, do you see it now? Um, so you can just click on that Explore Thrive Leads button. Take note, the button is orange. So you can find out more about Thrive Leads. Okay. Um, Thrive Leads is $67 for a single site license and 1 year of support. And I'm telling you, the support that Thrive people provide is amazing. I get a response within 24 hours, and they're very thorough. And most of the time, I find the answers in the support forum, anyways. But when I don't, and I submit a ticket, I get an answer right away. They've been very helpful. Now, but what's even better, you know what, is a Thrive Themes membership. So you can get Thrive Leads a la carte for a one-time payment fee of $67, or get a Thrive membership, which is just $19 a month. And when you have a membership, you get all the Thrive themes, WordPress themes, all the plugins. So that includes Thrive Leads. That includes the Thrive Content Builder, which you can use to create your landing pages and to stylize your blog posts. It includes a quiz builder plugin, 10 WordPress themes, and so many other things that are really amazing and so much fun also to use on your website. Okay. And if you get Thrive Leads through or a Thrive Themes membership through my link, because I am an affiliate, I will get a commission. And as a reward to you, I will have another webinar walking through Thrive Leads, because it's just so powerful. And, I just want to make it easier for you to just get started with Thrive Leads. And that's what the webinar will be all about. All right. Do you have any other questions? Okay, let's see. Look at the other questions in the chat. So Leslie, you asked what's the best plugin to use for opt-in forms, and I'm saying Thrive Leads. Helena is asking, can you recommend a platform service where I can make web form images? Okay. What I use, are you familiar with Canva? Canva is free. There's a free version anyway. I use several things, but you can use Canva. And then, yeah, you can make a book cover on Canva with text, and you can also make an image for things like your email course or your if it's a webinar, you can, something that's not an ebook. Like an ebook cover is easy to make, right? But for some other digital stuff like a webinar or an email series, you can use Canva as well. I use Pixelmator, but that's a paid software, and it's only for Mac. But there's a lot of free options as well. Like you can even use Google Draw. If you've heard of it, there's Google Draw, there's GIMP, or is it GIMP? GIMP. Do you have a free plugin recommendation for someone starting out? I know there are free plugins, Leslie. Like one that you can probably check out is Sumo, but I actually do not recommend it. because your email list is such an important part of your business that I want you to invest in it. Invest in your email list. You know, I really would not recommend a free plugin for your email opt-in form builder. Um, yeah, because it's a crucial part of your business. So that's an investment, and it's worthwhile. And I've not tried any of the free plugins. So even though I mentioned Sumo, please don't take that as a recommendation. I have not used it. I have just heard about it. I have not used it, so I don't know if it works well, how well it works, or if it does any of the things that we talked about earlier. Helena's saying, but in Canva, you can't make small pictures of a book. You can, because Canva lets you choose what you're making. And it's Google Draw. Draw. Let me type that. Google Draw. That's free. Again, I have just heard about Google Draw. I have not used it myself, so I don't know how well it works. Now, in a follow up email, I will actually, in the cheat sheet, the cheat sheet includes the different tools that I use, free and paid. So watch out for that. Okay, guys. Um, I gotta go. Unfortunately, I have a 1 p.m. meeting, so I have a solid stop, and there goes my alarm. I do have a solid stop for this webinar. Again, if you want to check out alexisrodrigo.com/leads, check out Thrive Leads. It really is a worthwhile investment for your business. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I hope that this has been worth your time. I hope you learned something that will help to make your opt-in forms better. I would love to hear your feedback. You can send me your feedback, type it in the chat. Did you have any aha moments? If I reviewed your opt-in form, did you find my suggestions helpful? Please let me know in the chat. And anytime you have a question, feel free to email me, lexi@alexisrodrigo.com. Okay, guys. I really want to help you. So let me know if you have any questions, you have any concerns whatsoever. I love getting emails from you and answering your emails. And as Helena can attest, I do read and answer every email that I receive. So get in touch with me, okay? Let me know how this was for you, and let me know what other questions you have. I have enjoyed this very much. I hope you did as well. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.